Hello and welcome again to my Physics Online video lecture series. In today's video, we're going to be continuing our discussion of RLC circuits and AC signals applied to RLC circuits. And we're going to do that today by way of discussing impedance. Now, there's a few things that we need to sort of keep in mind in the background of this video. So we should recall a few things. One of them is that the reactance of a circuit, of a device, tells us the ratio of peak voltage to peak current for a circuit element or for the device in question. Thus, our reactance as a general rule is defined as V naught over I naught. And this was given for different elements within the circuit as either omega times L, or for a capacitor 1 over omega times C, or for a resistor, we don't usually refer to this as reactance, it's just simply the resistance. Second thing to recall is that AC signals tend to end up having phase shifts for different elements between the voltage and the current. That is, we expect for voltage to lead current within an inductor, we expect current to lead voltage within a capacitor, and we expect the two to be synchronized within a resistor. Finally, these phase shifts can be represented by phasor diagrams. Last but not least, we might add in exactly what it is that the Kirchhoff voltage law, the loop rule, is telling us in these cases in the context of a phase diagram. Something like the total voltage, or the voltage of the power supply, if you will, must be equal to, albeit maybe in opposite polarity from, the voltage drop across the inductor minus the voltage drop across the capacitor quantity squared, plus the voltage drop across the resistor squared. And that actually is just kind of a application of the logic of the phasor diagrams. Technically, these are peak voltages for what it's worth that we'd want to use in this particular equation. And this one right here comes from the phasor diagrams, comes from the logic behind the phasor diagrams, and it's sort of our main jumping point for today video, because what we want to do today is in some sense determine the value for our let's say voltage from our power supply given a series of elements, an RLC circuit that it's going to be applied to. And by the way, this works for an RC circuit, it works for an LC circuit, it works for an RL circuit. So one of the elements could be missing. In fact, two of the elements could be missing, and this will still work. We just have to sort of strategically put some zeros in. So the peak voltage equation, given this, and given this line at the top, we can sort of rewrite the voltage for the power supply. And what we end up getting is that the sort of voltage for the source, the peak voltage for the source, must be the square root of, and really what we want to do is just kind of convert all these things into currents where possible. So this ends up being essentially the peak current times, or the peak current squared, if you will, times the reactance, omega L, for the inductor, minus the reactance, 1 over omega C, for the capacitor, again, plus that peak current times the resistance squared. And so I can easily pull the peak current out. And so my sort of source voltage is now equal to I naught times the square root of omega L minus 1 over omega C quantity squared plus R squared. So I've pulled out an I naught squared from everything, and since it's square rooted, it's like pulling out an I naught. Now this current, this is the current for this system as a whole. It's also therefore the current that the source has to be putting out. So you could call it the source current if you'd like. We define here a new or semi-new term called impedance. And I've already kind of mentioned impedance in my previous videos a few times. Impedance is to the circuit as a whole, or for that matter to the source, what reactance was to each individual element. Now it should be evident from this sort of definition for impedance that the impedance is going to be given by basically this equation here that I've sort of highlighted, divided on both sides by the peak current I naught. So basically what that's letting us do is define the impedance for the circuit as a whole, Z, and it's given by the square root of omega L minus 1 over omega C quantity squared plus the resistance squared. So notice that this impedance, this is actually a sum of squares, so both this quantity as a whole is positive and this quantity is positive. So the impedance is real. It's going to give you that ratio of V naught source over I naught. So in some sense, we could say down here that Z is defined as V source 0 over I 0. But this right here is the actual equation for determining the impedance for our system. Let's look at a quick example of impedance before continuing on with our lecture here. We want to know what the impedance is going to be for an RLC circuit given a resistance R of 10 ohms, an inductance L of 5 millihenries, or 5 times 10 to the minus 3 henries, a frequency of 120 hertz. That means that the angular frequency is 120 times 2 pi radians, and a capacitance of 20 microfarads, that is 2.0 times 10 to the minus 5 farads. So the impedance, again, is given by the square root of the basically the reactances of the inductance, the inductive reactance, and the capacitive reactance subtracted from each other and then squared, plus the resistance squared, or using the formula obtained at the end of the last slide, we're looking at omega L minus 1 over omega C quantity squared minus or plus, R squared. So Z, the impedance, should look like the square root of, and our first term is basically omega times L. So we're looking at basically 240 pi times 0.005 Henry minus the capacitive reactance. So that's basically a 1 over 240 pi times 2.0 times 10 to the minus 5 farads. So that is 0.00020 farads. quantity squared plus 10 ohms squared. That latter part maybe is the easy part. So that's basically stuff that we'd put into our calculator. And so what we end up getting for our total impedance of this circuit is square root of 4011.8. And so what that comes to is about 63.3 ohms. Maybe keep two significant figures. So we're looking at about 63 ohms. And that is your total impedance for this entire circuit. A good follow-up question to this one might be, what if we had a capacitor whose capacitance was 5 times larger? In other words, what if instead of 20 microfarads we had 200 microfarads? Well, if that were the case, then this number changes from 66.3 ohms to about 6.63 ohms. And so instead of 3.77 minus 66.3, you now have something like 3.77 minus 6.63. And that gives you negative 2.86. Square that, you get 8.17. And that's pretty comparable to this 10 ohms resistance that you have. So, add your 100 ohms of R squared value and take the square root, and you end up with a value of Z is about 10.4 specifically. So 10.4 ohms becomes your new value. Much lower, in fact, comparable to just the value of R, the resistance. Well, that's all for today's video. Hopefully you've learned something from it, and as always, thanks for watching.